So hey guys, this is our new series What If Naruto Fall in Love with Kaguya. If you like this type of content, so don't forget to like and subscribe our channel and let's get started.
It was so peculiar, combating in a one-of-a-kind dimension. However, Sasuke could not consider that. He paid no attention to the greenish sky or pink sand. He overlooked the strangeness of the complicated pudding of this struggle. His handiest awareness became the rabbit goddess herself, seeking to figure out a plan to prevent her, and the being that became Black Zetsu. Kaguya Otsutsuki, the mom of chakra, became an unbeatable foe. Their possibilities of prevailing were narrow, however Sasuke and Naruto knew that every one they needed to do was seal her. Nicely, it wasn't as simple as that, but they had a danger to without a doubt win. Obito had unluckily died, however he covered his former teammate, and Kakashi fought back with a blue Susanoo, the usage of his double Sharingan. They were capable of taming the unintentional transformation that came over Kaguya, that fierce rabbit model of the Ten Tails. Regardless of this, whilst she gotten smaller, returned to unique size, she nevertheless remained robust and repelled their efforts to get near her. Whilst she attacked Sasuke along with her 80 gods vacuum assault, he felt as though his frame was shaking from the more than one chakra fist colliding into his body. He tried to use the Susanoo to shield him, but the consistent attack of the fists destroyed it. If he turned into now not on the receiving quit, he would have been impressed. So, he became dispatched, flying to the ground. He felt the wind knock out of him, and he could not pass for the moment. Sasuke-kun! Sakura exclaimed, jumping out of Kakashi's Susanoo and landing at the floor. She ran towards Sasuke, getting there as rapid she may wanted to heal him. Kaguya became keeping off Naruto, however she noticed the Uchiha in his weakened state. She watched because the Pinkette ran to him. With an easy stretch of her arm, she unleashed her all-killing Ash Bones approach in the direction of the two. Sasuke could not flow. His frame became sore from the attacks he had by some means survived from. He should hear Sakura coming closer to him, but looked on in agitated difficulty at the projectiles being thrown in his course. Sakura pumped chakra into her toes, hoping to get there to save him. While she changed into clothes sufficient, she dove to push them both out of the road of hearth. They skidded throughout the ground for a second, their bodies rolling over the opposite. The kunoichi landed on top of him, but she moved away slowly, allowing him to sit up. "Are you okay, Sasuke-kun?" she asked, her voice simply above a whisper. "I am pleasant," he snapped, annoyed at the pain he became feeling. Why did she want to be so aggressive in saving him? And to be stored by means of Sakura, of all people? Granted, that turned into her activity. As a medical ninja, however, he became left feeling embarrassed at the occasion. "I am satisfied." She sounded weird, so he grew to become to her and raised an eyebrow at her smiling face. He felt as if there were too many implications within the few words she had just stated. Her head changed into near his shoulder, as though she become wondering if she ought to place her head on it like earlier. Then, some other element that irritated him, approximately her, turned into her constant want for comfort. Then, he observed it. The bone lodged into her side. Instinctively, he placed his fingers round her and looked fearfully into her eyes. She changed into nonetheless smiling when her body disintegrated into ash. It fell through his hands and he watched in shocked silence as his teammate died. The ash became scattered on the floor, but there was no wind to transport it. He would not see it glide within the air. Sakura was now a pile on the ground, as though she was in no way someone. She became gone. Sasuke finally moved his sight far from the remnants of his teammate's body and looked at Kaguya with cold eyes. The goddess regarded him with curiosity, and Naruto and Kakashi had descended to the ground, shocked that the Pinkette became no more. The Uchiha glared on the Otsutsuki. She had killed Sakura, the most effective lady who claimed to love him. She had killed her without a 2D concept. He readied his Chidori. He became an avenger, and he had just brought every other name to his list. The combat seemed to have no cease. Naruto had caught his second wind and become fighting Kaguya with all his might, tears streaming down his face. Now, even if they did win, Group 7 become no extra. It made Naruto irritated and unhappy, much like he were whilst Jiraiya died. This wasn't how it became speculated to be. They needed to win, and then Sakura and Sasuke might get married and they'd all return to Konoha. Now, that changed into not anything but a trifling dream and phantasm that would simplest play in the infinite Tsukiyomi. Kakashi also fought, but distress become glaring in his face at dropping his student. He hadn't covered Rin or Obito, and now he had failed one in all his students. He should now apprehend the urge his father had. He never related more. Sasuke become mad. He wanted to kill Kaguya, now not simply seal her. He needed she would bleed. Her red liquid need to splatter onto the floor, and the life must drain out of her eyes ever so slowly. In spite of this, he would nevertheless no longer be satisfied. They have been dropping. One time, they'd gotten near enough to seal her, and he or she flew upwards, averting their palms. She would not provide them any other threat. So, she transformed into the 10 tails and attacked them in her robust shape. Kakashi's double Sharingan had disappeared and he stood in Naruto's Kurama form, not supporting out as a good deal because the rivals. But what should he do? This fight become out of his league. Eventually, they couldn't hold preventing however they attempted. Sasuke watched, sprawled out at the ground, as Kakashi tried to face. But an all-ash killing bone pierced into his again, and he faded to ash, similar to Sakura did. Naruto changed into next. Kaguya fashioned a reality-seeker orb and created a brand new dimension. The blonde changed into forced into the portal, and now there has been no hope in him returning. Obito and Sakura were useless, providing no gate or chakra supply. Sasuke knew he would lose. So there has been no factor in trying. He could not avenge Sakura, or Kakashi. Kaguya had won and the sector turned into doomed. The greedy complain may want to take all of the chakra within the world, and Hagoromo nor Hamura were right here to stop her. All at once, he noticed a vivid mild and he turned into taken lower back to the battlefield of the battle. He became status subsequent to the divine tree, human beings striking from the branches, dwelling a lie they want was real. He hoped they were enjoying their wildest dreams, they would in no way be allowed out of them. Beside him stood Naruto. The boy had powered down from his QB chakra mode and seemed extraordinarily confused. Scratching his head, he puzzled how he got here out of the exchange size. In front of the two of them, the sage of the 6 paths changed into floating. This isn't how the story changed into alleged to go, he stated. Black Setsa said it changed into? Sasuke spoke back, ignoring Naruto's quizzical appearance. If what the previous Akatsuki member said was proper, he had orchestrated all of the activities that led as much as his factor, in order that he ought to revive the violent goddess. No! The blonde exclaimed. We will write our own history. Shut up, Naruto! Sasuke snapped, eyeing the boy with surprising anger. Sakura and Kakashi are both lifeless, so we must stop Kaguya. The Jinchuriki interrupted. Then she might not be capable of hurt all and sundry else. Sakura and Kakashi have been each speculated to be alive, so they might aid you two inside the combat with my mom. Hagoromo interjected before the two ought to hold arguing. We've misplaced. Sasuke sighed and seemed up into the sky. A lot for my perfect global, he concept. This is it then? Naruto whispered, no longer wanting to give up. It isn't always. The author of Nishu stated. The men looked at him unusually. You two can rewrite records. What do you suggest? Naruto requested, even though Sasuke seemed to have his suspicions about what the antique man become alluding to. Time tour. The sage discovered, confirming Sasuke's suspicions. Unable to send the two of you back in time to save you the revival of my mother. You could do this? The blonde changed into excited. They may forestall all of this from occurring. I will not, the Uchiha stated, narrowing his eyes. He did no longer need to relive this shitty lifestyles. He just desired the whole thing to stop. Team, we have to, Naruto exploded, barely stunning his teammate. Prevent being this sort of stubborn bastard, and allow Sko store the arena. You are humanity's last hope. Hagoromo introduced. You may repair any errors. Sakura and Kakashi will now not die and the complete warfare may be averted. Kurama's host felt the need to beg Sasuke to agree. They could right such a lot of wrongs, save you so many deaths, and team won't depart. He concept. Sasuke changed into hesitant. Who is to say this would not give up with their failure? What if there have been such a lot of repercussions that everything became on its head? However, the concept of seeing his circle of relatives once more changed into appealing. He could see his dad and mom, Itachi, and the Uchiha massacre would by no means manifest. The simplest female who claimed she cherished him, and meant it would still be alive. I will do it, he finally agreed, causing Naruto to let out an effective cheer. Good. Your Indra and Azura marks will fade once you tear through time. That means that your Rinnegan, he looked at Sasuke, and your six paths Senjutsu, he looked at Naruto, will disappear. Kurama, you'll additionally be going in conjunction with them. Because it have to be, the beast spoke back from inside Naruto. So, I'll get to use Kyuubi chakra mode from a young age? The Jinchuriki asked, stars in his eyes. The sage frowned. Yes, the two of you will preserve your strategies, but you shall not use the ones that younger academy students should not know. No person can understand that you traveled through time. It's going to have disastrous outcomes. Sasuke nodded because it made feel. Obviously, Naruto complained, inflicting the Uchiha to grunt, irritated. He changed into crying about the usage of a bijou, but it changed into hard for Sasuke also. He might need to conceal his Mangekyo Sharingan, and even his absolutely matured Sharingan for some time. This will be hard. Furthermore, he must act on his plan for a perfect world behind Naruto's again. If the Dobe found out, a tremendous conflict might occur and halt Sasuke's plans. It's time, Hagoromo stated, inflicting the men to straighten up. The destiny is for your palms. Sasuke assumed a large beacon of light could burst out from his frame and he would be sent hurtling back in time, like a meteorite crashing right down to earth. As an alternative, he blinked and he was in a bed. His formative years mattress, to be actual. His body was smaller, lots smaller, and he slightly took up any space. Whilst he sat up and hopped out of bed, he felt as though he became falling off a cliff. It's how much smaller he had emerged as searching in the reflect. He almost gagged at the sight of himself. He appeared like an harmless, clueless, little boy. A boy with the strength to kill all of us on this village. Humans would anticipate him to know not anything about the horrors ninja faced. But he now knew them greater than absolutely everyone. He activated his Sharingan. 3 tomos span in his eyes, displaying his absolutely evolved Sharingan changed into unstable. A genjutsu would not cover it, so he could ought to discern out an excuse. He then activated his eternal Majikyo Sharingan. The 3 intersecting ellipses in his eyes turned into a special tail. He could not display a single individual this side of his Kekkei Genkai. Sasuke did not precisely pass over his Rinnegan. The idea of getting one pleased him. However, how would he explain it to his family? His family? They had been all alive. The Uchiha massacre never took place. His breath hitched in his throat on the thought of this. They were all alive, and he ought to maintain it that manner. He did not precisely understand how to engage with them. Sasuke, as a 5-year vintage, he guessed, changed into a whiny, brother-obsessed ninja in training who changed into deathly fearful of his father, though he failed to care to confess. Despite this irrational worry, he felt the urge to show himself to his father. As for his mom, Mikoto showered him with unconditional love and affection. Itachi became a whole other tale. He knew the truth about what had happened, what will appear, with the Uchiha bloodbath. So, his first goals would be the elders so that they would not recommend the idea. Moreover, he had to figure out a way to forestall the coup d'etat his clan turned into preparing. Otuto. His bedroom door opened and he froze immediately. His back changed into the door so he could not see his brother. Hesitantly, he rotated his body and took inside the web page of this younger version of his older brother. His brother who cherished him and became him into an avenger. It changed into unusual, looking at him wearing ordinary clothes in preference to an Akatsuki cloak or a red cloak worn with the aid of reanimated ninja. Itachi. He unintentionally breathed. Stated man narrowed his eyes at his brother. Sasuke felt the urge to punch himself. 5 minutes inside the beyond and he already became screwing things up. Aniki, he effectively exclaimed, refusing to blush at his actions. What's it? He requested, seeking to put on an innocent facade. Ka-san has breakfast equipped. The older of the two informed the opposite, hints of a frown etched onto his face. After a quick pause, he left the room. Sasuke exhaled. He had to get used to them. This changed into purported to be every day. He felt harassed already about saving the world. He failed to want to add family troubles on top of that. So, he just had to act ordinary with them. That appeared clean sufficient. Then, He could meet up with Naruto at the academy, and they would discuss their plans for the destiny. Naruto awakened in his condominium, and it took him a moment to method what became occurring. Whilst the whole lot clicked, he jumped up in the air with satisfaction. "I'll fix everything, consider it!" he shouted, searching round his kitchen for meals. When the on-the-spot ramen pots came into his line of sight, he nearly cried. He hadn't had ramen in see you later. It simply appeared like a crime to no longer consume them proper then. After ingesting, he determined to head discover the Konoha that existed whilst he changed into more youthful. While it appeared fairly the equal excluding everything that had modified after Pain's invasion, he became excited despite the fact that I ought to go discover team, he thought, seeking to recollect where in the Uchiha district become unexpectedly, he felt a chakra signature nearby. But he turned into status on the street, all alone. It really is while he remembered that the third Hokage continually had an Anbu watching him, simply in case Kurama determined to kill everybody in Konoha. "I will pay attention you?" the beast growled. Naruto came face to face together with his buddy and beamed at him. "Kurama, study us. We're younger and we are pals." He gave the fox a thumbs up. "Who stated we have been friends?" He turned into quick to defend himself. "I simplest tolerate you." The blonde decided to go away the QB alone, and went and looked for the Uchiha district. He was very careful, approximately doing anything suspicious on the grounds that an Anbu became following him. This supposed that he might have to talk to the old man and get him to stop having any individual observe him. If he and Sasuke have been now not allowed to inform everyone approximately time to her, then a ninja following him, ordinary, was bound to be at trouble. "Excuse me?" Naruto asked the female as soon as he were given near the purchasing district. She gave him a look of disgust before stalking off, muttering curses below her breath. The blonde frowned, having forgotten about this little problem. This supposed that no person might assist him, and that made matters a lot harder. "Idiot," Kurama commented. "Hello." Naruto become offended. "Are not you presupposed to be at the academy? And won't the Uchiha brat be there?" After a quick pause, the host smiled. "Kurama, you are a genius," he advised the beast. "I recognize." With a sudden pass in his step, Naruto made his manner to the academy. Mikoto Uchiha became regarded with the aid of many, and now not just due to the fact she was married to the pinnacle of the Uchiha extended family. She changed into a kind, mild soul who checked out the great in human beings. The most essential people in her existence have been her husband and her sons. She constantly wanted to recognize in the event that they had been alright, which is why she becomes so worried about her youngest son. Sasuke changed into performing bizarre. He sat quietly on the desk, instead of asking Itachi a mess of questions on schooling and missions. Whilst she gave him his food, he mumbled a thank you and started ingesting with his head down. She and her eldest exchanged unusual seems at his behavior. Whilst he finished eating, he were given up and left without pronouncing a word. Mikoto frowned. Usually, he waited for Fugaku to sit with them before leaving. If his father become busy, he might pout and anticipate Itachi to finish, so he should pressure his brother to take him to the academy. Something become in reality occurring. Maybe he is being bullied. The Uchiha matriarch said to her son. Itachi frowned. Who would bully Sasuke? Most of the girls like him, and the men are too scared to attempt anything. Mikoto sighed. She would have to talk to him and discern out what become incorrect. Naruto left out the dirty looks he acquired as he skipped to the academy. He failed to care about them. Someday they would see him as a hero. Plus, he had more urgent issues than his reputation. The one man or woman he desired to look greater than something turned into Sakura. She was alive, he was positive of it. However, he needed to see it with his personal eyes. At this point, he believed she hated him due to her crush on Sasuke, something he did not want to appear once more. Nonetheless, just seeing her become enough for him. The blonde walked into their classroom and appeared to look if there was everyone he knew. Fair sufficient, Shikamaru changed into slumbering in the back of the room, subsequent to Chuji, who changed into luckily munching on some potato chips. Ino was status round, likely looking forward to Sasuke so she could take a seat next to him. Simplest contributors of Team 8 had been inside the room. Shino was sitting quietly subsequent to the window, and Hinata sat near the front. When Naruto looked at her, he saw that she was staring at him. While she got caught, her face turned purple and she or he fast appeared away. The Jinchuriki idea nothing of it, and endured scanning the lecture room. On the back opposite side to Shikamaru and Chuji sat a lonely woman with red hair. Sakura had bangs and he or she stared on the table, as though it became the maximum interesting factor in the international. Wait, why is she overlaying her forehead? And why are not she and Ino speak me? I thought they have been friends at this factor. Naruto scratched his head. Idiot. Kurama stated. Even I keep in mind that Sakura changed into shy before she became buddies with Ino. How, do you keep in mind that? The blonde puzzled his bijou. I spent 17 years speaking to no one in here. There was not anything to do besides revel in faculty drama and sip the tea, the beast answered. Naruto didn't exactly recognize what the fox meant approximately tea, but he disregarded it. Sakura being shy became a new improvement, and he could ought to ask Sasuke what to do approximately heard. Talking of the team, he arrived and poked Naruto on the lower back. Dobe, let's sit down, he said, walking past him. He did a brief experiment of the study room, noticing that Sakura was alive but regarded specific, and decided it made sense for him and Naruto to take a seat at the lower back. He told Naruto, who agreed. Sakura-chan. The blonde cheered, causing the girl to observe him with curious eyes. Mind if we sit down here? Why, sure. I imply, no. You could take a seat there. She mumbled the finishing, heat rising to her cheeks. Sasuke did not recall her like this. There had been a few instances in which she desired to talk to him but ran off. However, that was when she used a ribbon to hold up her hair, displaying off her brow. Now that he idea approximately it became atypical looking at her brow without the strength of 100 seal. It changed into pretty bizarre how this shy, little female had become this type of monster of a female. Stop at staring at her. Naruto whispered with a perverted wiggle of his eyebrows. Sasuke smacked his head in response. Oh! Naruto, forestall making this type of racket! Iruka yelled, taking walks into the classroom. I failed to quiet. The teacher shouted one closing time. The blonde shriveled into his seat. This became awful. They traveled via time to the factor in which Iruka hated him. Of root, that became because Kurama had killed Iruka's mother and father. It took a touch even as for the two of them to establish the brother-like relationship that they had. They had a pop quiz that lesson. Naruto was satisfied he knew most of the answers. That already intended he was imagined to be Hokage proper. Some of the ladies looked at Sakura with disgust, as she turned into the only sitting near Sasuke. When she noticed anyone obtrusive daggers at her, she shuffled and targeted on her paintings. One of the people who have been making her uncomfortable changed into Ino. Sasuke frowned upon realizing this, thinking if this action would have large consequences on their dating. Whilst the scholars had been given a damage to play out of doors, Naruto and Sasuke sat in the back of a tree to discuss sure matters. So you're announcing that an Umbu member follows you when you are not at the academy? Sasuke asked the Dobe, who nodded his head. I just should ask Gigi to stop. Naruto spoke back. Fool. That could be exceptionally suspicious. The Uchiha answered, racking his mind for a solution. Oh, brats, Kurama growled, communicating with the two of them. Sasuke frowned at what the fox referred to as him. Permit me communicate to the old fart. I can persuade him to stop. You cannot talk to him, the blonde exclaimed, outraged. We are no longer intended to tell absolutely everyone. He may not. The Sharingan consumer said, taking the beast's aspect. He just has to say that the two of you bonded. We did no longer bond. After which he might not be suspicious. He completed. I bet. Naruto sighed. He nonetheless notioned it become risky, and who turned into to mention that Hiruzen might agree with the QB? It might surely result in more Umbu guards around him, looking his actions continuously. Now, on to extra pressing worries. Sasuke started, however, become interrupted by a cry. Leave me by myself. It became Sakura, and he or she appeared like she changed into crying. The boys checked out each different with their eyebrows raised before standing up and following her voice. Have a look at your big forehead. A girl, stated, flicking Sakura. The pinkhead's face went red and tears had been streaming down her face. A huge toddler with a large forehead. Is forehead unhappy? Every other girl mocked her. She then flicked Sakura simply as her buddy had executed. The future member of Crew 7 became to run away, but any person driven her to the floor. Ino stood above her, palms on her hips. In which are you going, forehead? She smirked on the female at the ground, feeling superior. Good day, depart her alone, Naruto yelled, running at the institution of ladies. Sasuke accompanied him, narrowing his eyes on the scene before him. Sasuke-kun! The girls, except Ino, chorused. The woman blonde had the decency to look ashamed of her actions. The group of ladies ran closer to the Uchiha, asking him out and trying to hang to him. He shrugged all of them off and walked over to Sakura, who became sniffing at the ground. Her hand changed into gripping her elbow in obvious pain. He crouched right down to her level. Sasuke-kun, she's K, Aim stated, disliking the attention the boy had on Sakura. However, my arm surely hurts, the woman lied, inflicting all the other women to comply with her lead. Naruto glared at they all. Are you okay? Sasuke asked Sakura, who checked out him as if he were an alien. Your arm, is it hurting? She puzzled if she should lie here. If she stated yes, Sasuke would think she changed into weak. However, her arm became hurting, so she did not want to lie. I think it is a graze. She rolled up her sleeve and found out her red skin, due to the autumn. Ino watched their interplay in silence. Sasuke grabbed her hand and took her inner, escorting her to the nurse's workplace. Sakura did not appear unsatisfied, she regarded extra bold over than something. Naruto watched the two of them with a smile on his face before taking pictures, a disapproving appearance to the girls who had picked on her. Sasuke puzzled if he had made the right selection. Jealousy might heat up even extra within the girls if he continued interacting with Sakura. However, the remaining time Sasuke had visible her, she had died in his palms. So who may want to blame him for displaying care, his personal model of care, for her? This best meant that they could ought to educate her to combat again. At this point, Sakura became barely a ninja. She would learn how to utilize the academy fundamentals, but her physical prowess might be low. He and Naruto should exchange that. In addition, they needed to train themselves, and get used to the younger versions in their bodies. On pinnacle of that, mastering new strategies could no longer be awful either. The more youthful model of him might annoy his brother till he finally agreed to teach him. Alternatively, Sasuke determined the best teacher for all of them might be Shursui Uchiha. He turned into a skilled fighter and, though he refused to admit it, probably extra professional than his brother. Naruto would glaringly be on board. All they had to do turned in to befriend Sakura and then have her train with them. After losing her off on the nurse, he went again outside to discover Naruto smiling gleefully. Shut up, Do, he stated, walking exceeded the boy. I'm no longer announcing anything, team. The blonde spoke back, walking along him. They went lower back to the tree they have been putting around earlier then. What have been you saying? He requested. The Uchiha massacre. Sasuke diminished his voice. To keep away from it, we should kill the elders. Whoa! Naruto exclaimed, causing the opposite to glare at him. The boy also diminished his voice. We can't try this. There has to be every other manner. There is not. Danzo will advocate the idea and they may agree. Then, just kill Danzo. The Jinchuriki felt dirty even saying it. Leave the others. Koharu and Hamura also are a danger. Sasuke answered. I'm inclined to permit the Sandaime live. How nice of you. Naruto paradoxically said. You cannot just move about killing humans. This is to forestall the killing of my extended family with the aid of my own brother. It desires to be finished. The massacre doesn't take place for some other 3 years, right? We can discern out an opportunity until then, Naruto recommended, inflicting Sasuke to sigh and in the long run agree. First class. But you may see, they'll carry greater issues that we are not ready to stand. Naruto was fearful. He didn't recognize what to mention to the 0.33 Hokage. Not only did Sasuke say he turned into to allow Hiruzen recognize of the bond that shaped among him and Kurama, he was to force the Sandaime to inform him who his parents were. He remembered asking in his very own timeline, simplest to get shot down. He by no means understood why it became kept from him. Everybody regarded to know he become a Jinchuriki. What damage changed into going to come back to him if they knew who his father became? Okay, maybe I will be an even bigger target than earlier then, but they could have at the least advised me. I would not have instructed anybody, as typical, all of us not noted Naruto as he walked through the Hokage tower. It wasn't exactly unique remedy, it turned into greater like nobody changed into bothered sufficient to prevent him. However, the blonde appreciated to think that it became. His instantly, he knocked on the door and heard a gruff come in. Hiruzen changed into sitting at his table, stacks of paperwork blanketed his face from the Uzumaki's view. Gigi? Naruto asked, status on his tippy feet as if that might allow him see the Hokage. Naruto, what's it? The Sandaime asked, moving the office work so he could see the young boy. I am no longer sincerely the only who wishes to speak to you. He began, no longer knowing how to start. Kurama? Best to look you again, you vintage fart. The beast spoke to the Hokage from inside Naruto. I still take into account how you fought against me 5 years in the past. Mind-blowing for an antique guy. Naruto, Hiruzen exclaimed, standing up just in case he transformed. Wait. He is high quality, the blonde cried, hoping to calm the old man down. He gave the kid an unusual look, glaringly stressed. The children's proper. I'm a fucking pleasure. Kurama persevered. I've been looking this brat for a long time. He's so stupid that it is painful to look at him fight with none strength or recommendation. Howdy! The fool wants to be Hokage and it might be fun to assist him get there. The 0.33 listened to the fox, his expression changing sometimes. None of them will be deciphered by means of Naruto. The seal broke. The blue-eyed boy blurted out. Naruto! Hiruzen shouted, eyes extensive in panic. Do you realize what could have occurred? Loosen up. I do not need to wreck Konoha, the Ninetales stated, yawning as if this became the maximum uninteresting communication he had ever had. Then what do you need, Kyubi? The sensei of the Sannin asked. I want to help the brat emerge as Hokage, and then I need this verbal exchange to be stored among the 3 people. And we want the Umbu member you having following me to forestall, Naruto introduced.